I'm sorry it's drizzling, but at least it's not a hurricane. In keeping with the restoration of this park, it is raining and wet. But I have been told that in other countries, a sign of rain is a sign of prosperity, so I'll go with that. I'm Alice Massey, President of Monroe Park Conservancy. It is my privilege and pleasure to welcome you to the reopening of one of Richmond's most treasured and historic landmarks. Many of us have gathered here for the celebration. You might have thought this never happened, and it has. Yay. For more than a decade, we've worked together with the city, VCU, the community, to make this dream a reality. And now that we're here, it feels awesome. It's amazing. And if you were here yesterday or Tuesday, the students would be here telling you the same thing too. There are many, many people whose dedication, commitment, and hard work and vision brought us to this point. I'd like to take the time to name them all, but I won't. At the top of the list, however, are the individuals and organizations that made this possible. The former Mayor Dwight Jones, the current Mayor LeVar Stoney, and current and past City Council members, especially them who have come and gone, who have been with this park the whole time. Their unwavering support for the renovation is really what allowed this project to move forward. The Chief Administrative Officer, Selena Cuffey-Glenn, and the Parks Director, Chris Frelke, have helped to navigate the many issues as we've moved towards the reopening. I especially want to recognize Don Summers, Senior Capital Projects Manager, for his tireless advocacy of the park as the construction manager. Don always went the extra mile when it came to the park. He also knew how to tell me when to stop asking questions. VCU President Michael Rao and his senior leadership team have been a source of support and advocacy for the park since the beginning. We much appreciate VCU's support, their leadership, and especially their vision for the future and taking care of the park. Jay Hugo and his colleagues at 3 North have been with me and the Conservancy every step of the way on recreating, reinterpreting the original design for the park, so that it looks like you see it today, but it also has its reference in the history. Jay also designed the beautiful Dominion Energy Pavilion that is still under construction across from Altria Theater. None of this would have been possible without the generous support of corporations, foundations, and individuals. I call your attention to the little program flyer I passed out with their names on it. Please help thank me for their support. It wouldn't have happened without them. Thank you. It's now my privilege to introduce Mayor LeVar Stoney. He's been a tireless advocate for the city and a strong supporter of Monroe Park.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I can't hear you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
There we go. I want to welcome you back to Monroe Park.
Yeah.
Before I begin, I want to thank Alice, number one, for the introduction, but also for all you did and all the dedicated members of the Conservancy as well. This is a product of your work, so thank you so much. Thank you. I also want to thank President Michael Rao for your leadership over at VCU and our continued engagement and commitment to the greater Richmond community. All that you and VCU have done to take Richmond to the next level does not go unnoticed. I want you to know that we were over at Gladding Residence Center, the GRC, just earlier, maybe 2 hours ago, cutting a ribbon, and now we're here cutting another ribbon. So thank you so much, Dr. Rao. You know, Mother Nature, also, I would be remiss if I did not recognize my friends on the City Council. Kim Gray's with us this afternoon, and I also saw Parker Agelesto earlier as well. In the back? There he is, Parker Agelesto. And there's a number of city servants who are with us today as well. Let's give them a round of applause for their contributions to this project too. So as you can see, Mother Nature has not been very cooperative with us this year and try to keep us from opening this park. But I think you would be pretty satisfied, she would be pretty satisfied with what we've produced. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 167 years that this park has been in existence, since 1851. The leaders at the time recognized the importance of providing a place in the center of our city where residents could relax, kick back, take a stroll, be with their families, and enjoy what this urban green space has to offer. That idea is just as important today as it was back then. Although modern technology has allowed us to make more efficient use of our time, it's too often that we use that extra time to do more work or dig deeper into our smartphones and into our digital lives. This park, like the other greater parks in our city, should remind us that the value of lifting our heads up once in a while and taking just a deep breath. President Teddy Roosevelt stated, "The nation behaves well if it treats its natural resources as assets which it must turn over to the next generation, increased and not impaired in value." Today, this generation turns over the following assets to the next generation: a beautifully restored fountain from 1906, 132 new trees, more than double the tree count from 2008's master plan, more than 13,000 new plants and shrubs, and this beautifully restored Checkers house as well. This park has also been redone with 21st century environmentally friendly technology in mind as well. It has a bioretention system that retains water runoff and has the capacity to store and filter more than 25,000 cubic feet of stormwater, which will help keep the James River clean, another gem right here in the city of Richmond. We also installed 68 new energy-efficient LED pedestrian lights as well, and we will have a police substation and security cameras to ensure the safety of all who visit and use this park. I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to someone on my team who's worked just a tremendous amount of his time and focus on opening this park, and that is the work of my friend Don Summers, the head of capital projects for the city of Richmond. Don, your energy and stewardship of this important project does not go unnoticed. You were thinking about retiring, but I said you could not retire without us opening this park. So thank you for sticking along for the ride. Of course, none of this would not have been possible without the strong partnership that was forged between the city, VCU, and the Monroe Park Conservancy. The extensive community input and the generous contributions of supporters and park sponsors further reinforce the idea that this park is a shared value and a shared asset. That shared value, a civic good that after so much hard work is now ready for the enjoyment of residents, students, and visitors alike. You all deserve an abundance amount of credit and should all be very proud that what we've accomplished here today. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your park, and this is a demonstration once again of another One Richmond project. Thank you so much. Now it is my distinct honor to turn the podium over to the president of the Virginia Commonwealth University, President Dr. Rao.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I like that, the Virginia Commonwealth University. All right, you gave us a promotion, and I think that's wonderful. And what a great day for it. I actually think this is a beautiful day, and I could not be more happy with this park, period. So I don't care what the weather is. Easy for me to say standing under a tent, but I'll tell you, this is something that I've been looking forward to for a very, very long time. It's something that Alice and I actually started talking about maybe 9 years ago. And it was something that Alice just was not going to let go of, thank goodness. And I want to say thank you to you, Alice. You have been an unbelievable partner. You have been unrelenting in your vision to see the splendor and beauty be returned to this beautiful park, which will accrue benefit not only, as the mayor says, to all of these people who are part of our wonderful city, many of whom are here and many who aren't here but will be here, but also to our students. There really is not an angle from this park that does not look at Virginia Commonwealth University, and therefore we are recipients of a lot of this beauty, and for that we are very, very grateful, and we continue to appreciate this wonderful partnership. So Alice, thank you. And members of the Conservancy, just raise your hands because you've all put so much time into this. And we owe you a debt of gratitude for your time and, without question, your resources. We also have our partners who have put enormous resources into this park. We couldn't have done this just because we wanted to, just with a few dollars here and there. It took a lot of resources from all of you to make this happen. Thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart on behalf of all of our students, faculty, and staff at Virginia Commonwealth University, our patients who will undoubtedly find their way to this beautiful park, and so many others in this community who are so grateful. The other thing that I'm really grateful for is that, once again, we are demonstrating in Richmond in this current time that we can do things and do them together. Not always something that has been an easy part of our story, but we are doing this together. We have launched this together, and one of the reasons that we can launch something this big together is because we have wonderful public leaders. I could not be more grateful than to have the opportunity to work together with this mayor, who has recognized the interconnectivity and the relationship between the city and the university. And you continue in so many ways to be so supportive of our students and their experiences, understanding that their experiences really are in this wonderful laboratory that we call the city. So thank you so much for making all of that possible. And to all of the community members who are so supportive, thank you as well. The mayor got into some of the history of this park, and of course I've looked at it for many years because I've always been interested in helping be a part of returning it to its original splendor, and frankly going beyond that as much as I possibly can. So it actually started out in 1851 as something that was called Western Square, which the Richmond City Council at the time decided to purchase this because this was quite a bit far west at that time of the city. And then we had budget woes, as many of you know from history, and of course we weren't able to do a whole lot with it until about 20 years later. The Civil War kind of got in the way as well. And in 1869, Western Square became Monroe Park, and the improvements to the land began. There were certain improvements that happened over time, but nothing of the magnitude that you will see here today. I found it interesting that when we were looking at this, there was an engineer whose name was Wilfred Emery Cutshaw. Many of you know Cutshaw, which is a road is named after. I wanted to read you something that he said, and I know that because of what the mayor said, it really holds true today. He said, "All cities, small squares, are necessary to the comfort of those who have not the time and means to visit large parks and country retreats, and in sultry summer evenings, which we certainly have, they become really breathing places to crowded populations so circumstanced." And I thought, Mr. Mayor, it was important that you mentioned how much life has changed in the kinds of pressures and things that we face today that require us even more so to take in the oxygen that comes from all of these new trees and plants that we have put into this beautiful new park. And so it is wonderful to be together with you, all of you today, so that we can celebrate and create new history that someone will report on in the future in what we now call Monroe Park, this beautiful place where we'll continue to come together and live a wonderful human life in Richmond, Virginia, around Virginia Commonwealth University. Thank you. And from here, we will cut the ribbon. Yes, so if Alice and the mayor.
And I'd like my partners to come forward. Kim Gray, our district council person. Second district, Carol Gray from VCU. Hunter Applewhite, Dominion Energy Foundation. Emmanuel Sutherland, Altria Foundation. Ralphie Hutchison, the Burry Carter Foundation. And Rick Whitlock, Mary Morton Person. And Parker Aquilesco. I didn't know if you were going to be here. Will you come hold too? Oh, no.
Alice, get in there. Get next to the mayor, Alice.
I know. Oh, I was going to cut it without Parker. We're going to do a quick countdown. Starting at 3, 2, 1.